In today's example, we're going to be using flash. So if we head over to the color temperature, this is the first thing that you're going to want to set. So because we're using flash, let's select the flash icon. ISO. In very basic terms, ISO is an in-camera setting that will add brightness to your image. So for example, if you were to take a photo of me right now, click, and you increase the ISO, you're going to put more brightness into that one photo. And these aren't from the external lights, these are in camera. So the camera is actually putting in more light to the image. Now the problem with that is you get more noise and more grain to your image the higher the ISO. So for that reason, and because we are using flash, we will keep the ISO at the lowest, being 100. So select 100 and let's move along. Shutter speed. We use the shutter speed to block out light coming from the window, coming from ceiling lights, lamps, any ambient light that's in the room. We want to shut this out completely. And to do this, we increase our shutter speed so the shutter closes a lot quicker, keeping our flash as the only source of light that lights our subject. To make sure all light is blocked out, I will bump up my shutter speed to 1/200th of a second. As you can see, the image is dark now. At 1/200th of a second, the strobe turned off, this is the image that you get. Now turning the strobe on, firing the camera again to take a photo, this is what we get. See how you can see the light hitting the bottle and one shadow being cast from one direction? That is because we've darkened the whole image, but left the one light source, being the flash, as the main light source to hit our subject. But you might be saying, hey, the image is a little bit too bright. Yes, but we need to adjust the power of the flash. So turn down the power of the flash and take another photo. Isn't that a lot better? So let's move along to aperture, also known as f-stop. So we can say f1, f2.8, f18, f13, whatever you want. We don't just say the number as 14, 12, 11, we always put the F there. I don't effing know why. Okay? It is the way it is. Get used to it. So, the aperture, also known as f-stop. So the first thing to note with the aperture is that it is the hole that allows light in. This hole is your lens. Picture your eyes, right? If you got your eyeballs, open them wide. This is similar to the aperture being wide open. But if you squint your eyes and you go smaller in, it gets a bit dark, right? Can you see that? It gets dark. That's the lens hole being smaller. If you open your eyes wide, there is plenty of light going through. Now, if that all sounds confusing to you, let's stick to the basics and what you need to know for this exercise. For this exercise, I want you to ask yourself, do you want the subject and background to be in focus, so both of them being sharp? Or do you want the subject to be in focus and the background out of focus, creating a bit of depth? So to give you an example, if we adjust our aperture to f4.5 and then we take a photo, you're going to notice that the bottle is in focus and the background is out of focus. Now we need to lower the power of the strobe and take another shot. Now that is looking a lot better, isn't it? As you can see, the background is blurred, but the bottle is in focus. That's depth of field. You chose that, you. Let's give you an example of the f-stop being a bit higher. So let's say f18, crank that up to f18. Click, photo taken. Now, as you can see, the photo is a lot darker. Why? As I said before, when you squint your eyes, it gets darker. So because the hole is a lot smaller, your eyes are squinting, right? The example of the hole being smaller, we need to pump up the light. By cranking up the light, we are increasing the power of the flash to work with the new settings of the aperture. So your decision to have everything in focus the background and the subject, right, has now meant that we need to crank the power up to allow more light through the whole of the lens so we can have a well exposed photo. That's not bad. We still need to increase the power a little bit more. Now let's compare both images. The first one shot at f4.5 and the other shot at f18. Now, as you can see, the f4.5 has depth of field. The background is blurry and I like that look. However, sometimes you want both background and subject in focus. Increasing your aperture, such as what we've done here today at f18, gives you both in focus. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this quick basic tutorial. I hope it helped, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.